Tensions between Iran and the United States have long shaped global geopolitics, but in recent years the nature of confrontation has expanded far beyond traditional military operations. The modern battlefield now includes cyberspace, global technology infrastructure, and the multinational corporations that control vast portions of the digital world. In the latest development that has captured international attention, Iran's Revolutionary Guard has issued a warning suggesting that major American technology companies could become targets if Iranian leaders continue to be killed in attacks attributed to the United States or its allies. Today, we will talk about Iran threatens Apple, Google, and Meta. Is the tech world now a war target? So, before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. But the Revolutionary Guard's warning: Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, is one of the most powerful military and political organizations in Iran. It operates alongside the country's regular armed forces, but has broader responsibilities that include protecting the Iranian government, conducting foreign operations, and overseeing various strategic programs. In recent statements circulating through regional media and security channels, officials associated with the Revolutionary Guard reportedly warned that American technology corporations could face attacks if further Iranian leaders are killed. According to these warnings, companies such as Apple, Google, and Meta were specifically mentioned as possible targets. The statement suggested that facilities connected to these firms, whether offices, data centers, or infrastructure hubs, could be vulnerable to retaliation. The warning indicated that such actions could begin as soon as the following night if Iranian leadership continued to suffer targeted killings. Although the exact operational meaning of the threat remains unclear, security experts interpret it as a signal that Iran may consider cyber operations, infrastructure disruption, or indirect attacks through allied groups. Such threats illustrate how technological infrastructure has become deeply intertwined with national power and global influence. Why technology companies are being mentioned? The inclusion of technology companies in geopolitical threats highlights the immense influence these corporations hold over modern society. American tech giants control platforms used for communication, financial transactions, navigation, data storage, and artificial intelligence. Governments across the world rely on these systems, and their disruption could have global consequences. From Iran's perspective, these companies represent not just private businesses, but also symbols of American technological dominance. Some policymakers in Iran argue that U.S. technology firms cooperate with Western governments on intelligence gathering, surveillance programs, and digital sanctions enforcement. Even when companies claim neutrality, their platforms can still play roles in geopolitical competition. For example, digital platforms are often used to enforce sanctions, remove accounts linked to sanctioned organizations, and limit access to certain technologies. Additionally, most cloud computing services and operating systems can restrict or disable services in regions facing political or economic sanctions. For nations that feel targeted by such policies, technology companies can appear to be extensions of broader political pressure. The background of rising U.S.-Iran tensions. To understand why such threats have emerged, it is important to examine the broader history of tensions between Iran and the United States. Relations between the two countries have been strained for decades, particularly since the Iranian Revolution of 1979. Over the years, disagreements over nuclear development, regional influence, and sanctions have repeatedly brought the two nations to the brink of conflict. One of the most significant recent events occurred in January 2020 when a U.S.-born drone strike killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani in Iraq. Soleimani was one of Iran's most powerful military leaders and commanded the Quds Force, which oversees foreign military operations. His killing dramatically escalated tensions and triggered threats of retaliation from Iranian leadership. The role of cyber warfare. Cyber warfare has become one of the most important tools in modern geopolitical conflict. Instead of traditional attacks involving tanks and missiles, countries can disrupt infrastructure, steal data, and damage systems using digital tools. Cyber operations can target financial networks, energy grids, transportation systems, or communication platforms. Iran has been linked to several cyber campaigns over the past decade, according to cybersecurity researchers and Western intelligence agencies. These operations have allegedly included attacks on banks, industrial facilities, and government networks in multiple countries. While Iran denies many of these accusations, cybersecurity experts widely consider the country to possess a growing and capable cyber warfare program. Potential targets: data centers and infrastructure. When people think about technology companies, they often imagine smartphones, apps, and social media platforms. However, behind these services lies a massive global network of physical infrastructure. Data centers, fiber optic cables, satellite systems, and cloud computing facilities form the backbone of modern digital life. These facilities are located around the world and house enormous quantities of servers responsible for storing and processing data. Thus, if targeted, either physically or digitally, these locations could disrupt services for millions or even billions of users. Economic and market implications. Threats against major technology companies do not just affect the companies themselves. The global economy is deeply connected to the operations of these firms. Stock markets, financial systems, supply chains, and communication networks all depend heavily on the stability of major technology providers. If threats against technology infrastructure escalate, financial markets could react quickly. Investors often respond strongly to geopolitical risk, and the possibility of cyber attacks or disruptions could lead to volatility in technology stocks. Insurance companies, cybersecurity firms, and defense contractors might also see increased demand for their services in response to rising threats. The security response from technology companies. Major technology firms typically maintain extensive cybersecurity and physical security systems to protect their infrastructure. These include advanced monitoring tools, encryption systems, security personnel, and cooperation with government agencies. When geopolitical threats emerge, companies often increase their defensive posture. This may include strengthening network monitoring, enhancing access controls, and working with international partners to detect potential cyber threats early. Global reactions and diplomatic concerns. The warning from Iran's Revolutionary Guard has raised concerns among governments and international organizations. While threats involving private companies highlight the growing complexity of modern conflicts, where civilians and businesses may become entangled in geopolitical disputes. Diplomats and security analysts often emphasize the importance of avoiding escalation that could lead to widespread cyber conflict. Unlike traditional warfare, cyber attacks can spread rapidly and unpredictably, affecting systems far beyond their intended targets. For this reason, some international organizations have been advocating for clearer rules and agreements governing cyber warfare. However, establishing such agreements remains challenging because cyber operations are often difficult to attribute with absolute certainty. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up. Leave a comment and click the button to subscribe.